We are live,
Hey, what's
Brody.
good? What's good? What's good, bro? What's good? We live for another one. What's going on, bro? How's the
Yeah,
week been so far? How's life been, bro?
hands, bro. Hands. Not in the markets.
Hey,
Markets kind of been quiet. But I think as much as that's been quiet, it's probably been more because Spain has just been so hectic this week. Like, not fathoming, bro. Like, I know we both have like very early mornings, very late days. But to the point where I literally just barely get time to look in the market outside of like my London forecasting session, normally in the morning, and then the evening
mm,
forecasting session. So yeah, just feeling hella tired. Um, look, going well, but haven't taken any positions this week. But I think also because it's been most of the news. Look, there was inflation data out of the UK today. We had ZAR, CPI as
yeah,
well. My phone's connected. Not too sure how that actually came out, but I mean, ZAR sort of weakened, so I think it might have come out higher because we had that push up from USD ZAR, and then we've got look, it's PMI, services PMI, manufacturing PMI, some high impact data out of the US tomorrow. So yeah, I think a lot of the momentum naturally is going to come today, tomorrow. I think tomorrow, just looking at how things are shaping up, because nothing's really moved yet. Pound obviously shot up today off the back of that inflation data, um, which was a bit anticipated because pound has been bullish of late. So unsurprising that the volume
mm,
was in the direction of that trend. But yeah, other than that, bro, I've just been trying to keep in flow with the market while still kind of just navigating a hectic week, bro. Like a hella busy week.
bro.
But how's the week going on your end, bro? Both like market wise, span as well. Yeah, what's going on, bro? Give me an update.
Nah, it's been quiet, bro. In terms of market, I haven't taken a single trade this week. I think it's just
Right.
about like bearish or the bias at least, not like sentiment not being there. It's
Mm,
just not like feeling the market or the market not feeling me and like just
yeah.
taking a step away when I need to, bro. But I feel like it's been good in the sense that like I can focus on work then, you know what I mean? For that 4 hours where there's
Mm,
no trading session, I don't have to worry about like even analyzing, I don't have to worry about nothing. I'm just stepping away,
yeah.
not looking at the markets, not doing anything. And it's just been one of those
Mm,
weeks, bro, where you just like, yeah, if it's not there, then it's not there. Like I
mm,
can't do anything. And then with regards to work, obviously people's getting paid now. Fucking VAT. Hey, bro. Hey, the life you live is the
payroll.
life you chose. That's one of the biggest sayings
Payroll.
in BGC, bro. The life you live is the life you chose, bro. And like, hey, this is like me beginning to think like,
That's
hey,
facts
bro,
though.
this life, ish,
Hey, maybe the
yeah.
life I
But
chose isn't the
okay,
one I
we're
should have
moving, my boy.
chosen. Nah, but you know it's like that in the moment when it's hot. But when you're
Hey,
reflecting and you zoom out and you hit a milestone on the logbook,
yeah, nah,
or you know you get that extra shout out from the director, then it feels like it's worth it,
exactly,
bro.
bro.
So nah, I get you, bro. But constant
Exactly,
hands is
bro.
also just
But nah,
childish,
bro,
just
bro.
childish.
I was telling my mom, it feels like I've been in a whirlwind, bro. Just catching hands left, right, and center. Feel like one of them Mike Tyson fights where the other niggas just catching hands and I'm the other nigga, bro. Type shit, bro. Shit. You know what I
Conditioning,
mean?
bro.
Like
Conditioning, dog. Conditioning.
so yeah,
Nah,
but
but let's
nah,
jump with the
nah, it's
charts,
been good.
bro.
Yeah, whip it, bro. Jump in straight,
Let's
bro.
jump on the shots. I think there's some interesting things. Okay, that's up. Let's see. Let's maybe switch up this view. How's that? Yeah, it's a bit bigger.
Yeah, quite clean.
So yeah, maybe just starting on dollar index. I'll go from the daily down just because I think it's relevant. But And also, I guess for those who maybe haven't seen the weekly reviews, I think both of ours were very technical. I know yours have been past 2 weeks. I think I might have missed the week before that. But yeah, from a dollar index perspective, uh, pairs are actually just so clean right now, bro. I'm not really even fathoming. I think just because of where we are in the monthly cycle, and I think to just follow on from what I'm seeing at the bottom here, you can see we obviously had a bit of an accumulation phase. We manipulated lower, which is the next phase of the sequence. I think that lower manipulation just correlated nicely with these areas here on dollar index, these daily lows that I was already seeing price kind of gravitate into, kind of mitigated this fair value gap to, I guess, full extent and respected it, which is just nice to see reaction at these lows. And then obviously that is almost the extent of that internal range liquidity now heading higher to that daily high value area, external range. So that's kind of what I'm seeing on the daily bullish. I think this next sort of quarter of the month, which, this week, but could potentially also only really take shape next week, is where I'm seeing that volume come into the upside. But that, I think what I'm seeing this week won't probably take place like right away. Just looking at how, firstly, dollar index, but some other pairs are shaping up. I think we maybe drew another test of this low here, just looking at how price has been accumulating. We've tested this high here. Looks like we may be rejecting there. So I won't be surprised if we see a sell off to the downside before we push higher. And then just look also at how the weekly cycle has kind of just been playing out. We've been accumulating over the first two, potentially 3 days, well, 2 days, because on this third day now we've kind of gotten a bit of an impulsive push higher. So I'm almost taking that as the look that could potentially form part of the manipulation or the accumulation still, because we are in this kind of squeeze still. So but I am still looking for this to sort of distribute lower, and that could be the distribution to the downside that I think we see tomorrow, depending on how those lower time frame structures play out. So, yeah, I think an interesting play to the downside on dollar. That I think even though I'm looking for those longer term buys, we already have a lot of retail, I think, buying pressure at this point. So it makes sense to sort of wipe out those buys, come below these lows, grab that liquidity, and then go for the proper move before we, instead of just going on that first move where there's probably a lot of orders into the upside already. And look, when I'm talking dollar index, that's obviously then relating to Euro USD, US 30, even pound JPY in a sense, as well as USDs are positively correlated for the dollar pairs and negatively for the dollar cross pairs. So jumping into pound JPY, this one slightly different, and I think this lines up nicely with that move to the downside on dollar index, because this is bullish. We obviously have been bullish since very early May, and I'm seeing this come up to complete at these daily highs. Momentum is kind of in alignment with that. Lower time frame structure is clean, lining up nicely from a week sort of cycle perspective. This is where it kind of gets a bit complicated, and if anything, I think I kind of fall out of alignment with what I'm seeing from a quarterly theory perspective, because we had that continuation on the Monday. We accumulated Tuesday. You can see very low momentum, a bit of the correction, and then we had the manipulation to the upside. As you can see, today was a pretty bullish day. We got a lot of that volume when that UK CPI came out to the upside, and we should then technically distribute to the downside. What I'm seeing, though, will probably happen more often. What I'm seeing happen is the distribution to the downside will be the sort of mitigation of this POI before we then reverse on Thursday back to the upside. So, I mean, on Friday. So, yeah, I don't think the distribution lower is going to be that higher time frame distribution lower. I think it should be a bit of a deeper pullback, and just kind of testing the extent of this fair value gap that was created there, Just looking at how price is also correcting a bit to the upside, fresh off these highs, just to come a bit lower. And then once we get into these areas, then we come higher. So based on the sort of daily, weekly bias, that's what I'm seeing on pound JPY. If we're not getting that and we're getting a full-blown distribution lower, which would technically mean a move higher for the dollar, then look, I'll want to see these lows broken before kind of shifting bias to look at short moves, because yeah, it's going to take a lot for me to kind of trade counter to this trend at the moment, because a lot of my losses on GJ this month have come from doing that, and I'm not trying to do that at the moment. So yeah, interesting plays on GJ. I'm long though. Structure agrees. From the high time frame down to the lower, it's looking pretty clean for those downside moves. US 30. Big fan of this from the high time frame. I think, as you can see, we shifted structure when price moved down into these areas, and then we had a very extensive sort of pullback up into these extreme highs. But I really like the candlestick formations in this area here, that are showing, I think, a strong rejection of the area. Started with this wick here, tested the highs again, and then we had this gap to the upside, and then full engulfing. This was on Monday, and then kind of correcting, and then we're pressing lower. Again, though, like USD ZAR, I don't think this is the full, like, the, I guess, the high momentum move to the downside. I think we still are going to come up to test these highs one more time, probably tap into this liquidity pool above here, and then go, just based off how corrective this pullback is looking here. We've got this 6-hour fair value gap that we're kind of tapping into here. So I'm going to be wary as to, I think, how price sort of reacts from this area here. If we get a strong rejection, or even from the daily, if we fail to kind of close below these areas, then I think that's going to be a sign that we are heading higher. And then, yeah, potentially looking for those counter trend longs to the upside, because might not get the sell off this week. I think the major move is going to be that push to the upside. So going to be keeping an eye out for that. And I think that again plays into the thing I was talking about on dollar index, in terms of seeing the high time frame move, but not trying to jump the gun and thinking it's going to happen instantly, because it's kind of in these areas where you see the daily or weekly bias and it's very clear, but the timing of that entry to the downside, or to the upside, is, for me, I find just quite difficult in these areas, and I'll take loss after loss trying to time like that perfect, like, sell or buy, and then you eventually take so many losses that it kind of like defeats you, and you maybe stop looking at the pair, or you lose focus, and then the move actually goes once it's like just stopped you out for like the second or third time. So being wary that the market can do that in these areas where it's maybe a lot more obvious for a majority of the market that price is supposed to do a certain thing. I just find when that's the case, the timing of the entry in the very obvious direction is difficult. So yeah, I'll be mindful of that, and that's just kind of a recurring theme across all these pairs. You'll see that we in, geez, amazing areas, but when are we going to go is the question. USD similarly, at these extreme lows, triple bottom, like what's happening here in terms of this engulfing. Looking to see how this closes. But I think ultimately on this, I'll be led by the close of this protected high. I think we will, at least on the lower time frame, have started to see those structural shifts to the upside. But wanting to see this break above, on the 4-hour. From a quarterly theory perspective, this is very clean. We had accumulation on Monday, low momentum, I normally try also look at the difference between my daily opening and closing price. Obviously, the daily candlestick shows that quite nicely. So not a lot of movement there from the daily. High momentum to the downside, almost immediate push to the upside. This is manipulation, and then display higher. So I think this is good signs that we are starting to push higher. It's following that sequential move quite nicely. But again, we've got these areas here that price is heading towards. So I think a kind of strong break above here, look, may come this week, may not be ideal. And I think just trying to position myself, I'm struggling a bit to uh, find an entry to the upside, even though I'm seeing it. I think just because that 4-hour structure is still bearish. I need to wait for that confirmation to the upside before trying to take advantage of the move. But yeah, definitely being mindful of that daily close. Look, on this, even if we close on these lower time frames, the 30 minutes, the hourly to the upside, and we get that strong daily close as well. Look, more 4-hour will probably close as well, a bit higher. But I just want to see a breach of this level on one of the time frames, and then it makes taking an entry on the back into these POIs a lot more, I think, digestible. So yeah, USDs are looking clean. And then final pair, Euro USD. This has not been a favorite pair for the week, but I think it's shaping up nicely for a strong push to the upside. Just looking at the structure, it is bearish, similarly to US 30. To the downside, had an extreme correction down into those daily highs, and now on the lower time frames, starting to push lower from those highs, but in a very corrective manner. Got this fair value gap that price is kind of heading towards, which I think we may just reach into. Lines up nicely with the break of structure area here. Just from a sell perspective, that's a nice POI. And then looking for this to come to the upside, like US 30, into these areas, run the highs, liquidity, and then come lower. I think the primary move for dollar, for Euro USD, is going to be a short play for this week. I think, look, if you've been catching on Euro USD all week, then you've definitely been, with the intraday trend. I was looking for shorts this morning out of this POI, but price just didn't get there. We fell just short. So I was looking for shorts out of that area, and we kind of just stalled below there. So yeah, didn't quite manage to catch that. But even in looking for those shorts, it was mainly counter moves to the downside before the real push. I think that we're going to get to the upside. And from, I think, just that theory perspective, again, this is very clean. First day of the week, Monday, opened a bit high, got the reversal to the downside, and then transitioned into its accumulation period. And then today have gotten a pretty impulsive push lower. That's the manipulation, and then seeing the distribution higher for Thursday, and then a potential continuation or reversal of that on Friday. So yeah, again, like the other pairs, bearish from that high time frame perspective. Seeing that play lower, but I think the nature in which price is moving lower is just signaling to me that we're still going to come up for that final test, and that's just something that used to catch me out personally, like so much, just over the years, is identifying that high time frame bias so clearly, but then just not being able to get the timing right. And I think it'll, I don't know, look, whether it's validating or not, that's not really what we aim for. We're just trying to make money at the end of the day, and develop an edge. So if the edge proves that, look, price is going to respect what I'm seeing in terms of targeting that upside or downside liquidity first before we move, then I think that's just going to be good signs for me in this whole sort of like strategy development phase. So keen to see how it plays out, bro. But yeah, what's going on your end?
Yeah, I've noticed that I think there might be a slight difference in like USD specifically, because I know you mentioned
Sure.
there's like a high chance for Euro USD to push to the upside. And the way I'm looking at DXY specifically is like this daily point of interest that I had marked quite a while ago. Now, this daily point of interest, I noticed that it took us 5 days to impulse 4 days, 5 days to impulsively push to the upside. And then if you compare that to like the correction, like it's taken the correction 29 days to cover this right here. And then you can see the immediate bounce off from that point of interest. And that to me just states like this is like a clean impulsive move, and there was a high amount or a high volume of orders placed in these points of interest. And so really what I'm looking for is for these bounces to continue. Now obviously you'd want the 4H areas or 4H timeframes to start breaking to the upside, but 4H like structure to me right now is so high, like you can't necessarily say like definitively that price action is going to be bullish. So what I had to do then is jump down onto 1H timeframes and start marking like points of interest or areas in the market where price action would start shifting to push bullish, so that I can start anticipating the price action could now move into my 4H areas where price action would like have a point where we're either going to shift bullish or we're going to start like this continuation to the downside again. So for me, like from a hourly perspective, if we do break above these 104 900 areas, then like there's a high chance that going into tomorrow, obviously there's news now in a bit, but like there's a high chance that going into tomorrow, if we can continue to hold these intraday structures, that we could potentially push into like the 4H areas of 105 700. And that's what I'm looking at. I'm just looking at structure to the downside, the shift of structure. If we do get a break above here now in like 30 minutes, then you can start anticipating a pullback into points of interest to get that continuation. So I think that's where we might differ in a slight bit, because now if you're looking at Euro USD, it's the exact opposite of USD JPY or of DXY, sorry. Like it's getting into these daily areas that created these recent lows. And I know you mentioned that we're bouncing off from these areas, but I think you mentioned that we're anticipating the push to the upside. Obviously, with the new quarterly theory that you have placed together. Now, I don't fully understand the quarterly theory in all, but I do know like if structure do shift, and the reason why I have this as structure is because you can clearly see we formed a higher high, we had a pullback forming the higher low, recent higher high, pullback, and then we have the higher high once again. So if we do get these shifts of structure, what I'd like to see is for price action to continue. And as you guys always know with me, I'd like to see a break, a creation of a low, and then another push to the downside. And the reason why I like to see that is a confirmation that price action is now going to continue lower. And now not only are we going to get a low, but we'll have a lower low. So we have structure starting to form to the downside. And then I can start anticipating that price action could potentially push lower for a bit. Now, at the end of the day, from the daily time frame, price action is still bearish. We didn't actually get the full close above the daily time frame, so price action could start to break from here. But from a 4H perspective, we are bullish. And so what I'm doing is I'm anticipating that price action could pull back into these points of interest, fill these fair value gaps or imbalance, and potentially come into here. And then once price comes into that areas, I then start anticipating what could potentially happen from there. But it's all dependent on what we are going to do out of these areas, these intraday areas. If we're going to bounce, then there is a high chance that we continue these pushes to the upside. But I am anticipating that if this hourly right now closes bearish and then bullish on DXY, that we could then potentially see these like bearish moves to the downside. coming into pound yen. I think with this, I pretty much agree to you. I'm pretty bullish on on JPY. Sorry. Yeah. All I know is like price action is so bullish. I don't know where to target, and all I can really say is that price action needs to come into a point of interest in the market, and whether it be your 1H point of interest or your 4H point of interest, price action needs to pull back into a point of interest to then see the continuation to the upside. That's literally all I can say. Like this this pair has been moving so funny. Like the 1 minute I think it's in a pullback. Like yesterday I thought it was in the pullback and start creating like decent pullbacks like into these 50% areas. Then it starts pushing back to the upside. Now it's just like, yeah, it's so high. You start to anticipate like these sell-offs, but you can't necessarily do that. You know what I mean? Like you need to focus on what structure is doing right now, and what structure is doing right now is making higher highs, higher lows. And so all I can like start to anticipate is that as we're pulling back, we're pulling back to form these higher lows to continue to form higher highs. That's all I can really do. Like I can't say we're going to like potentially break below here based on the fact that we this high. Nah, price action could go to 250 for all I care, and then I missed out on the whole move just on the basis that like I'm saying we're so high. So yeah, bro. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna anticipate once price action comes into these areas and we start getting the lower time frame shifts on the 15-minute shifts back bullish, then there is potential that we could push to the upside. Jumping into US30, this thing's actually quite clean. Hella clean. Hella clean. Like the way it's looking right now, like this, I think is pretty much the same. I think the play might be slightly different, the way we might treat entries and things, but the way I'm looking at it is that we came into these high value areas, and you can quite clearly see that after some time we created these areas, and so after some time when we got into these areas here, there's a clear reaction off from the market. Like we came into the market, reacted, then we tried to push into that area again, and then we reacted again. And as Tam mentioned, we had the bearish engulfing candle. And what that basically means is that we form structure from a 4H perspective, forming these higher highs that in turn form these higher lows, push into the upside, getting the break. And then now this is what I usually look for. So now I had the low, then I had the higher low forming, or sorry, lower high. And now we in turn forming these lower lows. So what that basically means is that now price action, when it starts pulling back to the upside, you can start anticipating that when price action gets into these areas and respects structure, then start shifting structure on the lower time frames, you can start anticipating that there is going to be a push into these areas of interest here. So that's all I'm gonna be looking for, bro. Like from an hourly perspective, I think this point of interest is quite clean. Now, obviously, I don't enter on like sell limits, so I'd rather wait for price action to get up into these areas, have a reaction out of the area, and then start to look for those sells. So, but yeah, this thing is looking pretty clean, bro. This thing was for me personally, with regards to sells, this thing is looking really clean, and it's quite. It's in the area where it's basically at all-time highs. We had the reaction from all-time highs. We had 4H breaks of structure. We had 1H breaks and continuations of structure. So your natural inclination should be to find those continuation sells. And if you catch an L selling, I feel like you should be fine on the basis that like you trade in trend now, like you trade in intraday trend. So it should be fine. Like, yeah.
Oh man, nearly said
I tried.
It's like those voodoo, bro.
Nah, not even, bro. It's just like, bro. If you the thing is, if you believe it's going down, and it's going down, bro, the way you enter the trade is the way you enter the trade. You know what I mean? Like if your analysis say it's going down, it's going down. There's always that part of me that says like, damn, I knew it's going down out of this area, but my plan said you should wait, bro. But if I just set that sell limit though, I set that buy limit, I'd have a banger of an entry and I'd have an extra 2R. But like, I think, bro, if you believe something's going up and your point and the way you enter is a buy limit, place your buy limit, bro. What do I know? You know what I mean? With regards to USD ZAR, I think price actions in a very, very interesting area at this current moment. Like we obviously been pushing to the downside. Now with my view on USD ZAR, if we do get the break to the upside, then there's a high chance that we could break above these areas here, shift in structure back bullish, and then all I'm going to be doing is anticipating that similarly to DXY, that we'll potentially get a pullback and then continue to the upside. Now, whether you get an entry in this pullback or not, that's a bit difficult. But yeah, at the end of the day, with news coming up soon, I think there is potential that we are in these points of interest and price action can respect this, which is more likely because right now, to be fair, structure is to the downside. And like more likely, if you're trading in the direction of structure of trend and structure, there's a higher chance that you're going to win. So price action could potentially like just do something like that, where price action starts shifting to the downside, creating these equal lows. But for now, price action is in a really interesting area, and I just want to see its reaction out of this area to then start anticipating what exactly it's going to do. But if I go with like what I'm anticipating on DXY, then for me, I think there's a high chance that this thing could potentially push bullish. If we do, however, respect these areas and start breaking 15-minute structures to the downside, for example, but 15-minute structures so far, bro. Like, for example, these areas, yeah, this thing's so far, bro. I know some people would consider this to be 15-minute structure. Unfortunately, I don't. But yeah, if we do start shifting these in around these areas of 18.1575, then there's potential that we could push to the downside. Other than that, with this 30-minute close, there's a high chance the price action could potentially push bullish, bro. Like, yeah. So I am basically anticipating bullish movements on DXY, bearish movements on EU. I'm bullish on GJ based on structure, bearish on US30, being my best pair on the watch list for now. And then if I had to choose a side for USD, so I'm going to choose bullish, bro. But structure is bearish, though. Just keep that in mind.
All right, yeah, I think that's look, GJ seeing the same. I think that one's just a bit undeniable. USDs are as well, as much as structure is still bearish. I think just based on where we are on the high time frame, it's looking like it wants to break to the upside. I mean, even where price is now, we're practically kind of already breaking it, just pending a close. I think we just differ a bit on US30 and Euro USD. And yeah, it makes me think a bit. I think the whole difference between your analyzing and trading, just sort of argument, where if you literally trade what you're seeing now, it's look on US30. I agree. I think Euro USD is a bit different, where structure is still bullish. We just okay, structure's just a lot further down, so technically we should be trading it lower into those POIs, and just looking at USD, at Euro USD, it's not really in a discounted area yet, so it is, I think, going to head low, but we are at that fair value gap, I think, like I pointed out. So it's a bit tricky on those two. I think it's down to the discretion a bit. Maybe only on Euro USD, it's a bit up for debate.
I think with
US30 is definitely shifted structure, but just knowing at how closely those two follow each other's movements, I think, especially in alignment with dollar index, whatever I think is going to happen on the one is probably going to happen on the other. But look, that's a good hedge, I think, on the other end. If I just play structure on US30, and anticipate the buy on Euro USD, then whether I'm right or wrong, it's going to work out one way or the other. So yeah, I think interesting play to the rest of the week. But I think just in terms of like market moves, this is definitely, for me, I think, one of the most sort of interesting weeks, or feels like there's a good flow with the market. I think just naturally where we are, I think at the time of the month, this is where we get a lot of volume. Okay, look, last week there was quite a bit as well, but it was catching hands trying to sell the market when it just wasn't ready. So yeah, still a lot of opportunity. I think we're not getting NFP next week, so this week, next week, tons, I think, of profit on the table. it's just about that timing and just positioning ourselves correctly. So looking forward to that. Bro, have you taken any setups this week?
None, bro. None whatsoever, bro. It's been a quiet week, bro. Like,
It has been a quiet
bias
week.
hasn't been there. Just GJ be like hella range bound for like quite a while until I think the PMI or the CPI yesterday, and then we had the push to the upside. And then this morning there was potential buys, but then there was news too, so then I couldn't trade. So yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's just one of them weeks, bro. It's quiet, it's fine. I realized like there's no pressure to take any trades. I'm up 3% for the month.
Sure.
Like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, if the trade comes, it comes. If it doesn't, then it is what it is. If I end the month up like this, I mean, in the month up in positive. So what else can I do? What else can I say, bro? As long as I just stay focused and stay like present with the markets, I'll be fine, bro. I'll be fine over time. Have you taken any trades this week?
Nice attitude, bro. Nah, I haven't. Nothing yet for me. Yeah, I think similarly. But I'm finding Monday, Tuesday, not really taking many setups. I think it just kind of links a bit into the way I'm seeing the market play out. Those are normally quieter days. So I'm finding that I'm not trying to force setups also on those days. And a lot of the volume normally does come in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So that's normally where I'm more active. The past 2 weeks, it's normally been a Thursday or Friday that I take a setup. So yeah, I think just glad that the next day or two, well, the next 2 days are looking a bit quieter for me, like in the office. Won't be on site for the next 2 days, maybe Friday, but I doubt it. But yeah, heavy admin days, but that normally means in front of the laptop and can normally catch setups and kind of just stay in sync with the market, which is nice. So looking forward to that, bro. Looking forward to that. Just based on how the rest of the week could play out. Kind of want to be sharper and more focused for this back end of the week.
Yeah.
So,
I know 100%, my boy.
yeah.
100%.
Keen dive.
Guys, just a quick one. If there's any pairs that you want us to analyze, then you have like 2 minutes. It's been a hectic day, so boys just wanna hit the sack and
my
go
laptop's
sleep, bro.
probably got 2 minutes, dog. So
okay. Then yeah, guys. Sam's laptop decided for us to charge the jury and like everything, bro.
No,
Shout out to your battery, bro.
Yeah. No, I just forgot my laptop charger at the office, so I'm on like skeleton battery.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah,
guys. I hope it's a profitable week further, Sam, and I also hope that like if there is any trades tomorrow, obviously I'm not trading tomorrow. If you do take any trades, then hopefully it's profitable ones. And yeah, guys, don't forget that your unmatched perspicacity, coupled with your sheer indefatigability, makes you a feared opponent in the realm of human endeavor. So from your boys at the Modern Day Trader, have a profitable week. Have a wonderful week. Deuces.
peace out.